Hi, it's Stephanie again. I welcome you back. Thank you, all of you who have watched and are supporting me. I really appreciate it. Tonight, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, well, first of all, I made the mistake of talking about my YouTube channel in front of my 12-year-old nephew. So, without talking to my sister, his mom. So, I will have to make this as PG as possible. But I don't really want to dive into the dark days and, some of my crisis anyway right away. But I do want to introduce myself as, a person who does have PTSD. I also have depression. I've suffered with severe depression. However, I did write some stuff down today. I was going to kind of go by a script and read, but I think it's better if I just do it out of the heart. I might glance at my paper a little bit, but I have PTSD. I was diagnosed bipolar at 22, age 22. I was diagnosed severe mental illness, so SMI, as well as bipolar type 1 with schizoaffective disorder, which, in my opinion, is bullshit. I'm sorry, not sorry. Unfortunately, I believe that bipolar is misdiagnosed a lot. Am I saying people don't have bipolar? No, I'm saying everyone has bipolar. You can't tell me that anyone can control their emotions 24/7 a day or 24/7. You can't tell me that people don't get angry, sad, confused, pissed off. Everyone has a little bit of bipolar in them, and that is just simply a mood disorder. I believe that psychiatrists and doctors, or doctors are psychiatrists, doctors and pharmaceutical companies, they, to me, are disgusting, to be quite frank. I have been forced to take several medications at the same time. I didn't know what side effects were from what. I won't get into that much. I'm not telling people they need to go off their medications. I am advising people to advocate for yourselves. Do what you think is best. Don't always just say, yeah, I need to take all these medications because that's what the doctor says. For me personally, and like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not giving medical advice whatsoever. These are all based on my personal experiences. I did go through some trauma as a child. I did try to, I didn't know what was going on. So, I went to a mental institute when I was 16 because nobody knew what was going on, including my parents, my family, and myself. They thought I was on drugs. They didn't know what was happening. I was having a severe PTSD flashback, and I didn't know that at the time. I had to be hospitalized several times, and the problem with the mental health system, and I know it's getting better than it was when I was there, when I was 22, 23, that caused a lot of my trauma. I have a lot of trauma from dealing with the the behavioral health system. Cops were involved at times, and that alone was just traumatizing. Being handcuffed when I didn't know what I did wrong. I didn't do anything wrong, I just was having a breakdown. I couldn't control my emotions. And that's why I think it's very important to educate. When I did In Our Own Voice with NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, I went and spoke to some of the hospitals. I only really did that a couple times, to be honest. I would love to do it more, but I want to do my own format. I did like that program, though. I want, the Tucson Fire Department, all the fire departments, the police, and they did go to like the court systems. I think they went to, there's a different program for high school. It's called Ending the Silence. But I do really think it's important to educate people from our perspective, people dealing with mental crisis, so people have that empathy and they are not just like, that person's on drugs or they're psycho and crazy. And that's another word I don't like, crazy. I say it, just not meaning anything by it. Bipolar, I hate that word. It's so misdiagnosed. And I used to get offended when people would say, my boyfriend's bipolar, my girlfriend's bipolar, when they're just having a bad day or having a mood swing, or maybe they're just an awful person and mean a lot. But I used to get offended because I would embrace that bipolar. First, I didn't know what it was. I was ashamed of it. I didn't want to have to tell a guy that I was dating that I had bipolar. It's a red flag for a lot of people. I contemplated with myself, when am I going to tell someone that I'm bipolar? I want them to get to know me for who I am first. I did tell my ex-husband, I think on our 4th date or so, and, we got married, and that ended because of my mental illness. And again, that's another story for another time. But I have had a hard time embracing being bipolar. Then I was like, oh yeah, I'm bipolar. I'm going to own it. That's who I am. I didn't do anything to deserve it. This is my chemical imbalance, which I don't believe in. Everyone says chemical imbalance, you need meds. No, the medications masked all my emotions. I never dealt with my trauma. I never really understood what happened to me. I just don't believe in it for me. I was forced to take meds. I was court ordered at one point, like a lab rat. I didn't even feel like a human being. I cried in the courthouse with my mom behind me, and she wasn't behind. She was physically behind me, but not behind me, supporting me. She wanted me to be on those medications, and to this day, she does, and a lot of my family do. My brother, even though, we had a bad experience a couple years ago, but he even said that I'm better off of my meds, and I go longer periods of time without meds. I feel I'm better. Those mental breakdowns, I can't control them, and unfortunately, it happens usually when someone close to me dies. My great aunt Nona was my first angel. I saw her dying. My grandpa John, I saw him in hospice. He winked at my cousin and me, and he was pretty much unconscious, but he died during 9/11 in hospice. And I lost my Aunt Kiki when I was 26. I had a complete breakdown after that. I also had some pretty intense surgeries. I had, that's a whole nother story also, weight loss surgery and plastic surgery, which going under anesthesia, I think, didn't help my mental state, I guess. Just a combination of things, probably. But getting back to my point, probably. I mean, I lost my Uncle Scotty. I lost my cousin Adam. I lost my cousin Adam. I lost a good friend Joe overseas on my birthday. He died 4 years ago, I believe. And so, dealing with death, I don't deal with it well, but I feel like I feel them. I feel my angels all the time, and I feel like I'm supposed to go through things for a reason. And it took a long time for me to realize really who I am, what I went through, why I went through it. And it was scary. I went through a lot of scary times. I didn't know what was happening. I thought different things and just trying to figure out really what happened to me. And I didn't intentionally hurt anyone. I never physically hurt anyone. I can't imagine what it's like to go through for my family to see me go through that. But that's another story as well. Just sticking to my bipolar diagnosis, which F it, I'm done with it. I want that label off of me. I'm done. I decided maybe a few years ago that I don't really have bipolar. And I have PTSD, and a lot of my symptoms and breakdowns presented as bipolar. And it was scary, but I do really think that PTSD needs to be, and I know people are working on it, with all the veterans, it's getting a little better, I think, but it's really it's an illness that's never really talked about, not enough anyway, I think. And not a lot of people are brave enough to talk about it, and I just want to talk about it. I want people to know they're not alone. There is help, other than you see a psychiatrist if that's what you think you need to do. I have a therapist. I try to find better coping skills. But, sometimes the darkness took over, and it was really, really hard to pull out of it. I always went to work. I would wake up, go to work in the morning, most of my dark days were at nighttime. I know, sometimes at work I would cry once in a while, not a lot. No, just a couple days I remember, but I just really think it's important to talk about it and to deal with it, because otherwise you repress those feelings and they're never dealt with. And in my case, they came out, I'll say crazy. I don't want to say crazy, but in a crazy way and a scary way. And I really do believe I went through what I went through for a reason, for a purpose. And I was strong enough to get through it. And at times I didn't think I was, but I did. And I dealt with it in my own way, which wasn't always the healthiest way. Alcohol, which I think I'm 19 days sober now. So I know this is a little longer than I said I was going to do, like 6 to 8 minute videos. So I'll wrap it up. Basically, I just want people to recognize that people with trauma, and then everyone has trauma to a certain degree. Everyone's lost somebody. Everyone's probably lost, even if it's a grandpa that was, they knew he was going to pass away and he was older. But that's someone that's close to you sometimes. Like, I loved my grandpa, both of them, and they're both strong figures in my life. And just little things. Everyone reacts different to trauma. Everyone processes trauma, stress, emotional things differently. And in my case, I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't. And so I lost my mind, basically. I couldn't control my emotions. I thought different things I didn't know. And I feel grounded now. I feel so confident in knowing what I went through, knowing that I can get through this time, because I'm getting emotional, talking about it again and dealing with it, getting back into therapy again after doing telehealth for a little bit and then stopping because I didn't want to do telehealth. And I just know that I'm strong enough to get through this, and without breaking down and having to go to the hospital and having to be forced back onto medications. I don't take any medications now, personally, and I feel good about it. So just remember that there are people there, even if you don't know. I mean, NAMI is a great organization. They have so many resources. National Alliance on Mental Illness. Their office is actually 22nd Wilmot, which is really close to my house. I used to volunteer also doing like front desk stuff when I was in between jobs. And I also, like I said, did in our own voice presentations. I did that peer support specialist class. They have so many resources, so many programs. And with COVID, I'm sure it's a little different, but there are resources. And reach out to a friend. I know sometimes I didn't, and I know I could. My sister's always there for me. My cousins, I just have to learn who to call when. I know everyone has busy lives and kids, and I don't have kids. I get it though. I mean, they're busy. But if that person doesn't answer, call the next person. Just talk to somebody and do something that makes you feel good about yourself. Give yourself credit. Tell yourself you're good enough. Think of one good thing that you're so proud of yourself. You are worth living. Everyone, I mean, I lost a couple friends to suicide, my uncle, and it's a struggle. And I know how I've thought I've gotten dark about it. And I know, looking back on it, I feel guilty even thinking those thoughts, because I would always think about my nephews. Always. What would that do to them? I love my nephews so much. And I know that I couldn't do that to them. So I'm here. I am living my life. I'm happy, even though I'm getting teary-eyed. And I'm just grateful for this opportunity to be able to share my story. And so I hope you share my story with whoever you think maybe needs to hear this. I will try to post every night. I will try to make it shorter next time. But anyway, thank you so much. Peace and love, and do something kind for someone without telling someone else about it. And that is it. Thank you so much. Have a good night.